Hi everyone, welcome back to Booking It with Atia. I am Atia and today I'm here to share all the books that I received during the months of November and December. So I have 13 books here from, various different publishing houses, so shout out and big thank you to all of them who I will mention, of course, when I'm talking about the books. But before we jump into this book mail haul, make sure you are subscribed and click the notification bell so you're notified every time I release a new video. Also, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and let's dive right in. So first up, I have two books from Blackstone Publishing and they are actually in a series. The first one is No Gods, No Monsters by Cadwell Turnbull, and the second one is the sequel, We Are the Crisis. So these two books are part of the, let me just double check the name of the series. I think it's the Convergent series is the name, but basically what happens in book one is that there is a fatal police shooting of an unarmed black man, and it comes out that there are supernatural beings living amongst humans, and it's a very interesting, very weird commentary on belonging and justice and social justice. I have actually read No Gods, No Monsters, and I'm looking forward to reading We Are the Crisis. I highly recommend you check out the synopsis for this one because, well, actually don't check out the synopsis because I don't think the synopsis does the book justice. Yeah, you know what? I'll read the synopsis of the first book. One October morning, Lena gets the news that her brother has been shot and killed by Boston cops. But what looks like a case of police brutality soon reveals something much stranger. Monsters are real, and they want everyone to know it. As creatures from myth and legend come out of the shadows, seeking safety through visibility, their emergence sets off a chain of seemingly unrelated events. Members of a local werewolf pack are threatened into silence. A professor follows a missing friend's trail of breadcrumbs to a mysterious secret society. And a young boy with unique abilities seeks refuge in a pro-monster organization with secrets of its own. Meanwhile, more people start disappearing. Suicides and hate crimes increase, and protests erupt globally, both for and against the monsters. At the center is a mystery no one thinks to ask. Why now? What has frightened the monsters out of the dark? The world will soon find out. Okay, I take it back. I do like the synopsis. But yeah, so we have No Gods, No Monsters, and book two, We Are the Crisis, both by Cadwell Turnbull. Thank you to Blackstone Publishing. Next up by Orbit Books, we have Warrior of the Wind by Suyi Davies Okongbowa. And this is actually the sequel to We Are the Storm or We Hunt the Storm. I'll put the cover right there. That is a North African inspired fantasy world. It has political intrigue. I'm actually planning on reading the first book during the month of January. And yeah, so I can't tell you what this one is about because I don't want to read the back of this one because I don't want to be spoiled for the events of the first one. And once again, thank you to Orbit Books for this one, as well as Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. I guess I should be telling you when these books come out. For these two, they're already out. This came out, I think, in 2021 or 2022, and this one came out towards the end of 2023. And Warrior of the Wind came out in November of 2023, so those three books are already out for you to purchase. Okay, back to Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. This is, as you can probably see, a fantasy book, and it comes out in February of this year. And so it says on the back, welcome to Tiankawi, shining pearl of civilization and safe haven for humans and Fathom Folk alike. Or at least that's how it appears first. In the partially flooded city, humans are quite literally on top. Peering down from skyscrapers at the Fathom Folk, sirens, sea witches, kelpies, and kappas who live in the polluted waters below. For half siren Mira, promotion to captain of the border guard means an opportunity for reform. But as if earning the trust and respect of her human colleagues wasn't hard enough, everything Myra has worked toward is put in jeopardy when a water dragon is exiled to the city. New arrival Nami is an aristocratic water dragon with an opinion on everything. Frustrated by the lack of progress, Nami throws her lot in with an anti-human extremist, leaving Myra to find the headstrong youth before she makes everything worse. When extremists sabotage the annual boat race, violence erupts, as does the clampdown on Fathom folk rights. Even Nami realizes her new friends are not what they seem. Both she and Myra must decide if the cost of change is worth it, or if Tiankawi should be left to drown. Wow. And this says, I actually don't know if this is the start of a series or if this is a standalone. Who knows? Once again, thank you to Orbit Books. Then on to something a little different from, the fantasy vibe. We have Pride and Preston Lynn by Christina Wong Dudley, and this is actually from a new press called Third State Books, and they focus on Asian American and Pacific Islander stories, and this is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice featuring Asian American protagonists. Then we have Why We Play with Fire by Giselle Reason, and this was actually sent to me by the author, so shout out to her. Thank you so much. Isn't this coverage is absolutely gorgeous. And this book, I'm not sure, oh, here it is. It comes out on February 6th, and it says, when Thea is unexpectedly plunged through a mystical well by her family with a cryptic mission to retrieve the keys, she finds herself in an unfamiliar world brimming with divine secrets. Here, ancient artifacts of immense power are shielded from dark societies with nefarious intentions. Discovering hints of her own celestial lineage, Thea, against the advice of seasoned guardians, embarks on a quest with newfound friends to reclaim these mysterious keys. As relationships deepen and alliances shift, Thea grapples with her role in a tale bigger than she ever imagined. Join Thea and the other Malachites on a thrilling journey where myth intertwines with destiny, trust is a double-edged sword, and the shadows of the past loom large over the present. Dive into a world of gods, challenges, and heart-stopping adventures where every choice has far-reaching consequences. Once again, thank you to the author for Why We Play with Fire, which will be out on February 6th. Then we have two fantasies from Berkeley Romance, the first one being Game On by Ceresia Glass. This is actually the same author that wrote The Love Con, which I absolutely loved. So in Game On, we have a very prominent Black woman streamer who calls out something super racist in one of the biggest games of the year. She starts a viral online hashtag explosion, and the CEO of the game development company, which is him, so his name is Alanis and her name is Samara. So Alanis, he gets wind of it and he's like, well, I didn't sign off on that, and he embarks on trying to just rectify the wrongs that his company has done, as well as try to prevent that. And he ends up offering Samara a job so that he can basically have his company, put their money where their mouth is, and it is the romance between the two of them as they work together, become friends, and then eventually become something more. I am about 30% of the way through this and enjoying it a lot so far. The other book that I received from Berkeley Romance is Technically Yours by Denise Williams. This is a second chance romance between two people who work together. These are actually side characters to, I believe, the protagonist in The Fastest Way to Fall, of course by the same author, which I absolutely loved and enjoyed. And yeah, the tagline says sometimes love needs a reboot, so second chance romance dealing with coding and technology, and I'm really looking forward to this one. I do have a vlog project coming up where I am reading and discussing both of these because they were probably actually my two most anticipated romance releases of 2023, so be on the lookout for that video. Next up from Del Rey Books, we have Fae-Bound by Sarah Al-Arifi, who is the author of The Final Strife. So if you're familiar with The Final Strife, I want to point out that this is a completely separate series. This is the start of a new series dealing with Fae. Where is the synopsis? Is there really no synopsis? Oh, here it is. And this book actually comes out on January 23rd. So by the time you're seeing this video, it will already be out. And it says, Yiren was born on the battlefield, has lived on the battlefield, and one day she knows she'll die on the battlefield. As a warrior in the Elven army, Yiren has known nothing but violence her whole life. Her sister, Lettel, is trying to make a living as a diviner, seeking prophecies of a better future. When a fatal mistake leads to Yiren's exile from the Elven lands, both sisters are forced into the terrifying wilderness beyond their borders. There they encounter the impossible, the Fae court. The Fae haven't been seen for a millennia, but now Yiren and Lettel are thrust into their seductive world, torn among their loyalties to each other, their elven homeland, and their hearts. I'm seriously looking forward to this one, and once again, thank you to Del Rey Books for the arc. Next up from Scribner, we have Mumbo Jumbo by Ishmael Reed. This book actually came out in, I forget when it originally came out. I'll put the year right there, but it is being republished, hence the new cover. And this is a satirical whimsy. I'm just gonna read the synopsis. Honestly, I don't think that I can encapsulate what it's about. It is the 1920s in New York City, and an epidemic known as Just Grew is sweeping the nation. A dancing plague, irresistible, joyful, and undeniably black. Naturally, the powers that be are having none of it. A repressive conspiracy is operating in the shadows, and it's dead set on squelching Just Grew and its carriers, black artists and musicians, by any means necessary. Now, with the very liberation of blackness at stake, just one man, Detective Papa Labas, has the know-how required to save it. So begins the classic novel by Ishmael Reed, the iconic satirist whose myriad contributions to American literature have drawn praise from the likes of James Baldwin and Harold. Mumbo Jumbo is an ingenious deconstruction of Western civilization. A cinematic collage that mixes portraits of historical fiction and incidents with sound bites on subjects ranging from ragtime to Greek philosophy. Now, with an introduction by the author, this timeless and crucial work of 20th century fiction is ready to be discovered by a new generation of readers. I need to read this ASAP. I keep saying that I need to, and I keep putting on the TBRs, but I really, before we get to like a third of the way through the year, I do plan on having read this because it sounds right up my alley. Next up from Scribner Books, we have Weird Black Girls by Elwyn Cotman, and this is a collection of 7 stories, well, about weird black girls. And it says, in each of the 7 stories in this collection, characters pursue their obsessions on paths to glory and destruction, while around them their worlds twist and warp, oscillating between reality and impossibility. On display throughout is Cotman's ability to reveal truths about the human experience, about friendship, love, betrayal, bitterness, through whimsy, horror, and fantasy. Elegant in tone, imaginative, and humorous in their execution, the character-driven stories in Weird Black Girls challenge, incite, and entertain. and this one comes out on April 16th. Once again, huge thank you to Scribner Books for both of these. And then the last two books we have are from Ballantine Books. The first one being All We Were Promised by Ashton Lattimore. This is a historical fiction book that releases on April 2nd, and it reads, Philadelphia, 1837. After Charlotte escaped from the crumbling White Oaks plantation down south, she'd expected freedom to feel different from her former life as an enslaved housemaid. After all, Philadelphia is supposed to be the birthplace of American liberty. Instead, she's locked away playing servant to her white-passing father, as they both attempt to hide their identities from slave catchers who would destroy their new lives. Longing to break away, Charlotte befriends Nell, a budding abolitionist from one of Philadelphia's wealthiest black families. Just as Charlotte starts to envision a future, a familiar face from her past reappears. Evie, her friend from White Oaks, has been brought to the city by the plantation mistress, and she's desperate to escape. But as Charlotte and Nell conspire to rescue her in a city engulfed by race riots and attacks on abolitionists, they soon discover that fighting for Evie's freedom may cost them their own. All We Were Promised is the story of three women in vastly different circumstances: the rebel, the socialite, and the fugitive, risking everything for one another in an American city, straining to live up to its loftiest ideals. Another one that I want to read before we hit the springtime. And last up, we have Acts of Forgiveness by Maura Cheeks, and this is out on February 13th. Almost a decade ago, Lily Revel gave up her burgeoning journalism career in New York to help run her father's struggling construction company in Philadelphia. An ambitious single mother, Willie has reluctantly put family first without being able to forget who she might have become. Now, as the President of the United States prepares to pass the Forgiveness Act, a bill that would allow black families to claim reparations if they can prove they are the descendants of slaves, Willie delves deeper into her family's history, while also trying to keep the family from going into bankruptcy. Could reparations help uncover her forgotten roots and right generational wrongs, while also helping save their beloved home and her father's life work? But for reasons both justifiable and cryptic, the rest of the family is hesitant and wary of what pursuing forgiveness could mean. Her mother, who was adopted, is not eager to dig up the past. Her father doesn't trust the government, and her daughter is just trying to make it through the 5th grade at her elite private school. It's up to Willie to verify their ancestry and save her family from financial ruin. But as she delves into their history, Willie begins to learn just how complicated family can be. With warm insight and powerful prose, Acts of Forgiveness reveals the ways historical discrimination can manifest in the present, asking how history shapes who we are, to consider the weight of success when it is achieved despite incredible odds. And once again, thank you to Ballantine Books for Acts of Forgiveness, as well as All We Were Promised. Thank you once again to all of the publishers and authors who send me these lovely books to talk about and add to my TBR and indulge in. I really do appreciate it, and it's always joy when I unexpectedly get a package and it's shaped like a book and I know I didn't buy any books recently, so just huge shout out. I am immensely and extremely grateful. It really does make my day sometimes. And thank you so much for watching. If you are just a regular person and not a publisher, make sure that you are subscribed and you have clicked the notification bell so you're notified every time I release a new video. Comment down below which of these books would you suggest that I start with based on their synopsis, like which one should I prioritize. Maybe I'll make a little video out of it, I don't know. And you can follow me on all of my socials, which are linked down below, my Etsy shop, which is how you can get this really nice bibliophile sweater in different colors and variations, big, and I also have the pocket size. You can check out my Pango Books storefront and also join my book club. All of that is in the description box, and I will see you in another video. Bye.
Showing. I ain't living for the moment. I see what's mine and I want it. Hungry like a Pac-Man. I'm Bruce Wayne and Batman. I'm Naruto with a Hanzo. Got a sharp mind like I'm Einstein. Plus I'm copywriting, so it's all mine. Check it for me, I'm in the sky.